you lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
Hi, Sophie!
Hi, Sin.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Snap Covenant, episode 282.
I thought this was going on Patreon.
Surprise! And today we're gonna talk about the sassy Firekeepers from Things Betwixt.
Yes, to a significantly larger audience than I was expecting.
Could you please describe the Firekeepers?
Thank you, Sin. The Firekeepers are three old ladies that you meet in a hut, and the hut is in a tree. But, from what I can tell, it's actually the same old lady, and they just cloned her, so there's three of them, they look exactly the same.
Is this like Attack of the Clones?
Wouldn't be as effective because they only made three of them, and they're just old women who can't get out of their chairs. Instead of clones of Jango Fett.
Well, they give you a lot of sass, though.
They do.
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse.
It's three old women. They have long, sort of like unkempt grey hair. They have these red robes on, and they're all seated. And they basically sit around their table all day drinking tea. I think they're actually specified as sisters.
Okay. So what are they drinking? Is it like Earl Grey, or like green tea, or like that tea where you have a flower and if you put water on it, it opens?
Well, you'll have to ask Millibeth because she's making them the tea.
My name is Millibeth.
Millibeth is the lady who's like the housekeeper. She's the younger one.
Is she like a firekeeper in training?
No. This is interesting because you actually get quite a bit of info about the Firekeepers and Millibeth when you talk to her. Firstly, she tells you that Things Betwixt, like, it's not actually really physically part of Drangleic.
This is a limbo. A link between Drangleic and the outer world. Fair traveller, I know that you must have a story. Why else would you visit such a place? This lost, decayed kingdom.
She calls it a limbo. And that's kind of important because we brought this up last time we talked about Dark Souls 2, but like, Things Betwixt geographically makes absolutely no sense.
According to you.
I'd say according to, like, if you look at the map, there's nowhere for a vast underground ocean to exist.
Who made that map?
About 5 different people, I think. I think some people made it under Tomohiro Shibuya, and then Yui Tanomura made them move bits of it around. Like, it's all over the place. But, like, she says it's a link between Drangleic and the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were confused by Things Betwixt, and, like, it's not supposed to make physical sense. It is like a limbo space.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk to her, she says, the three old women are the Firekeepers. And she said, I was told there was a fourth.
Oh.
The old women were keepers of the fire. But now, the fire shows signs of fading. And the kingdom is beset by hollows. The old women are sisters. I am told there was a fourth. Long ago, firekeepers were commonplace. But now they are lost, scattered to the winds.
She says that they're not the Firekeepers anymore, and that they're sisters. And you asked, is Millibeth a Firekeeper in training?
Yeah.
And she actually says, no, her job is to tend to them, and that was also the job of her mother and her mother's mother.
The old women were once firekeepers. I am here to look after them. It is what my mother did, and her mother before her, and so on.
Oh.
She's not a firekeeper in training, she's a firekeeper taker carer of. That's literally her job. And something that's been passed down from, like, from mother to daughter over these generations.
You just gave me a vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Dark Souls 3, there's the Firelink Shrine. And when you go in there, you meet various people, like Andre, the Firekeeper, the Shrine Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if?
What if?
The Shrine Maiden is the actual Firekeeper. And the Firekeeper is the taker-carer of the Shrine Handmaiden, who's actually the Firekeeper.
That'd be interesting. I mean, you can get a bunch of dead Firekeepers in 3. There's like a mass grave.
Oh my god, what if? Okay, what if
Yeah?
the Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3 actually killed all the other Firekeepers?
I thought you were going to say the Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3 disguised herself as a shrine handmaid to avoid being killed. But, of course, it's you, so it immediately defaults to she's a mass murderer.
Thank you, Sophie.
I also thought you were going to say, is the shrine handmaid in 3 Millibeth?
Oh!
And that's why she's in such a bad mood all the time.
I feel like your visions are a lot more logical than mine, but mine are a lot more realistic.
That's true. That is realistic.
Thank you, Sophie.
Before we recorded this, Sin was telling me a lot's going to end up on the cutting room floor. I think we just found a pretty good candidate for it.
So you were saying...
I've forgotten what we were saying because you made me think that the Firekeeper from 3 is a mass murderer.
You just gave me another vision.
Have you been drinking?
How did you know? So you know the Firekeepers in Dark Souls 2?
Mm-hmm.
They wear red hoods.
They do.
But, as we know from Dark Souls 3, only one person in the Soulsborne universe wears a red hood.
Yes.
Uncle Gale. So do you think these Firekeepers ate Gale for his dark soul and kept his red hood as a trophy?
That would fit into my the timeline goes 1-3-2 theory. Hi, Sophie here. I know, a rarity these days as Sin grows increasingly obsessed with one-note comedy characters, and I am using the word comedy and the word characters extremely advisedly. But speaking of one-note characters, remember Slave Knight Gale and his iconic red hood? Do you ever wonder what really happened on that fateful day when he went forward in time and ate some people? Sounds a little true crime, doesn't it? If you think Dark Souls and true crime need to be the same thing, but instead of Dark Souls, it's Bloodborne, good news! Sin and I have a new Patreon goal. If we hit it, then we'll be recording an exciting Bloodborne True Crime series, getting to the bottom of just who killed Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. If you'd like to help us reach that goal, and help us produce other high-quality content, and also get access to garbage that we think is too bad to release on this channel, head to patreon.com/SinclairLore. Back to the podcast.
So, anyway, you were saying that, what's her name? Is a Firekeeper take your care?
Millibeth, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gives you a spoon.
A spoon?
Yeah, you know how there's the two Shrek ogres in the forest, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're by the coffin
Okay.
that I use quite a lot, yeah, for some reason. If you kill them and go back to Millibeth, she'll say, like, you proved yourself in the forest, take this. This is all I can offer you, and it's a spoon.
Is it totally OP?
It's interesting that you bring this up. The spoon itself is not a terribly powerful weapon.
Okay.
Because it's a spoon.
Okay.
But, when you hold it, it increases some of your stats. It increases your adaptability, it increases your vitality and your endurance, but it lowers your dexterity. That is effective even if it's in your offhand. So if you wanted to, you could two-hand a weapon and then have the spoon in the other slot, because it doesn't matter because you're not using it. And you would get the stat bonuses from the spoon.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. A lot of Dark Souls 2 does weird stuff like this.
Hmm.
And I hope it carries over to Elden Ring, which is co-directed by Yui Tanimura.
Yay!
Yeah.
By the way, did you know there's a movie called A Room Full of Spoons?
Is it about the room that Tommy was so...
How did you know?
So that has the spoons in it.
This is why Sophie is the film professional. I can throw any movie at her and she knows. She knows all.
I don't know anything. All my friends are like, yeah, have you seen the latest? And I'm like, no.
She knows all before 1998.
That's a pretty good cutoff point. Blast from the Past was 99 and I didn't see that, so...
Hi, Sophie here. Sin wants me to explain cult film The Room. The Room is a notoriously terrible vanity project by an extremely strange man who has no idea what he is doing. Many scenes inexplicably feature framed photographs of spoons as set dressing. There's actually a theory that the auteur behind The Room, that's writer, director, producer and star Tommy Wiseau, didn't actually direct the film, and it was mostly directed by the script supervisor, whose name is Sandy Schler. And as someone who worked on a lot of student films in the late 2000s and early 2010s, I am inclined to believe that this may actually have some merit to it. Basically, there is a threshold of technical competence, that's technical competence, not artistic merit, that any professionally distributed film is not going to fall below, and consequently people don't realise films can fall below those. Just things like having eye lines match in between edits, making sure everything is in focus. Things that we're so used to seeing that we think of them as natural, but they actually do need to be planned out ahead of time. And this is why a lot of student films look and sound awful, because they're made by people who haven't learned that you need to figure those things out ahead of time. And basically the thing about The Room is that as weird and incompetent as it is, it still clears that bar of technical competence, and I don't believe Tommy Wiseau did that by himself. Anyway, back to the podcast. I don't even know what this one's about anymore.
So, Sophie.
Yes, Sin.
You were talking about Millibeth?
Yeah, Millibeth gives us a little more information about the Firekeepers. And she says, they have looked like this for as long as I have known them. Millibeth is not that old. She looks to be like sort of 20-ish, maybe 30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that like that's just to imply they've always been old.
Okay.
Because she possibly didn't start being a firekeeper taken care of until like a decade ago, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. But it could also mean that they're like weirdly sort of ageless. Like they're just sort of always old.
Yeah.
And she says like that there were once more firekeepers a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that they're lost and scattered to the winds.
Oh.
So yeah, those are the last 3 firekeepers, and they're not even tending to a bonfire.
Well, there's a fire in the fireplace.
Yeah, there might be Millibeth though.
So she's a firekeeper in training.
That's true. If she doesn't keep her eye on that fire, that place is going up because it's literally a tree. It's all just wood. It looks like a Sylvanian family, like, playset. We can talk a little more about the fact they're in a tree, because that's interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because, it's an ash tree.
An ash tree from, like, the ages long ago?
Arch tree.
Oh, my bad. That's the take 2. I don't want to appear unknowledgeable about this. So, Sophie.
Yes, Sin.
You were saying something about an arch tree.
Yes, in an arch tree. So the firekeepers live in an arch tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like really notable because there's like weird stuff with Things Betwixt, because Things Betwixt, it looks like a dark version of Ash Lake. It's like big, like the sort of the dune beach and like the sea going off into the distance forever and these, like, giant sort of trees standing up. And then, like, that whole tutorial area, that's all inside of trees. We're going in and out of arch trees and they live in one of them. And you get a sort of, like, interesting kind of look into how they live their lives, because they have, like, outside, they have all these bones hanging up.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not clear if, like, they're killing animals and hanging the bones up, or, like, the bones are from dead animals, they're hanging them up as some sort of, like, a warning or a decoration or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all very odd, and, like, they just seem to live there. There's no beds or anything, they just seem to be in the chairs all day. And it's a 2-level tree. Berenstain Bear style, they live in a split-level tree. And, yeah, they have a ton of human effigies. They seem to be tied to the making of the effigies, I think.
Yeah.
They'll give you an effigy and explain how it works.
It's a human effigy. Take a closer look. Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
If you kill Strowen, who is the main one, she drops effigies, and they have a chest of effigies in the top floor. And then, like, also Strowen is the one who will reallocate your points if you use a soul vessel.
Mm-hmm.
She can literally remake you.
Still determined as ever, I see. Do you wish to start all over again? You must go on a journey without rest. Well, I suppose if you find yourself at an impasse. But if your will is yet unbroken, then you may return here to start again with a clean slate.
No other NPCs can do that. She's a very interesting kind of character. Strowen and the other two are called Morrel and Griant, and they have dialogue in the very, very beginning. When you go into the tree, they will talk.
It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed. You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom.
So prior to meeting the 3 old ladies, there's actually another old lady that we meet.
What?
Yes, she's the woman that we meet in the intro cutscene in the CG one, who's like,
Yes!
Yes, I believe they called it Drangleic.
Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north.
So, Sophie,
Yes.
did we just find the 4th Firekeeper?
You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you? I'm assuming, because I don't know who else it could be, that's the old lady in the intro who tells you how to get to Drangleic. So they know her, so it's possible she is actually the 4th one, and Emrald Herald is something different.
I think that's what we should go with, canonically, in the Snack Covenant.
The
Because
real canon.
Emrald Herald doesn't even know the other Firekeepers, right?
Well, no, this is the thing, because they say like the Firekeepers aren't used anymore, right? Emrald Herald's like, she's technically a Firekeeper, she watches over the fire, but she's something else. She's something that was like conceived of through this weird thing with dragons.
Yeah, yeah.
Are the Firekeepers no longer necessary because the Emrald Herald exists? So like, do we have a better one now? We have updated, we have Firekeeper 2.0. It's like, you know, you're just like, it's like an old iPhone or something. We don't need you anymore, you can just go and stay in this tree. No, but it might literally be that. Because, like, in Dark Souls 1, there's Firekeepers for, like, a bunch of major bonfires. It's like Quelag's sister and the Dark Lady and the dead ones in, like, New Londo and stuff like that. Whereas, and in Dark Souls 3, like, there isn't either one Firekeeper, but you can make another Firekeeper by letting Elana read, like, a holy text. She becomes a Firekeeper.
Oh, sweet champion, leaving so soon? Please, come back in good time.
Whereas in Dark Souls 2, it's just the Herald. There's no other Firekeepers in it. And, yeah, so it could actually be that, like, yeah, like she's saying, like, the Firekeeper isn't needed anymore. We have the Emrald Herald. She behaves differently. She's linked to the bonfires in a different way. She's connected to them by some weird feathery thing that's, like, it's in the cut content, so we won't talk about it, because it's not even finished. Even the cut stuff's not properly finished, but, like, there's something about her and the cycle and the fire that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost like, yeah, we don't need Firekeepers anymore, so they're just living out the rest of their days in some, like, retirement home for Firekeepers.
But I wonder, what if the Firekeepers don't want to tend to the fire anymore, so they just left, and so a new Firekeeper needed to be created?
With a vacancy.
What?
There's like a job vacancy.
Yeah.
Emrald Herald's she's in Dragon Shrine. And then they're just like looking through the paper and it's like, oh, she's just circling. And there's like, oh, Firekeeper.
Yes.
And because it's a bunshin of her, she's working from home.
There we go.
She's like, I want some firekeeping work and I want it to be remote.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Think about it this way.
Okay.
If the sassy Firekeepers are boomers, it's time for them to retire.
That's true.
And Emrald Herald is a millennial. She's looking to upgrade. And with the pandemic, you want to work from home.
Yeah.
There we go.
She has a lot of millennial energy, actually. She's just standing like, oh, again. Are you the next monarch? Just stuck staring at the sea all day. She's not allowed to leave. Turns out she was Skyping you from Dragon Shrine the whole time.
And just for people who may not be aware, you use the word to describe her.
Skyping?
No, the projection.
Oh, bunshin, yeah.
Yeah, could you please explain what that is?
Okay, so when you meet Emrald Herald and Dragon Airy, she says, I don't remember the English exactly, but she says something like, you were led here by a projection of me, you were led here by my, like, an image of me or something. But what she's saying in Japanese specifically is, you were led here by my bunshin. And a bunshin it's like a doppelganger. So that's what it's getting at, is like the quote-unquote real Emrald Herald. This is confusing because you can kill the Emrald Herald in Majula and she leaves a gravestone and everything as if she's actually dead. But like, I guess a bunshin can be flesh and blood. But basically, like, Emrald Herald has been in Dragon Shrine the whole game and she's just projected this like doppelganger version of herself out. Which makes you wonder why she couldn't like show up at other places.
Because it's not her job. That is not her shift.
Yeah,
she's not going to show up.
Yeah. Aldia does it. Aldia is just like, you just try to light a bonfire. It's like, hello. I have another philosophical question for it. Not now. What makes a king? I just want to tag the bonfire because it's late. Okay. What is your answer? So I really want to talk about Aldia and the Firekeepers because it's kind of interesting.
All right.
This just occurred to me recently because I've been talking to Chae
Uh-huh.
about Dark Souls 2 a lot. And something like we've brought this up a few times as well, but like a lot of Aldia's dialogue is paraphrased from Macbeth. Are you familiar with Macbeth? Did you have that in Russia?
Is this like Shakespeare or whatever?
Yeah, it is. That's the guy. Okay, Macbeth, right? The sort of inciting incident of the guy's downfall is he finds the 3 weird sisters in the forest.
Oh!
Like the 3 Firekeepers. There's just these, like, yeah.
I got it, Sophie!
Yes.
You don't have to...
You made a face!
Because I
You've made your confused face.
No, I made an O face. And then I was waiting for you to continue, and you were like, this bitch is not making a connection, is she? Let me explain.
Yeah, so, like, you meet the three weird sisters, like Macbeth meets the 3 weird sisters. And I'm like, because I thought, okay, the thing from Macbeth stuff, that's probably just the English translator being flowery. Instead of like, men are props upon the stage of life and stuff like that. But now I'm like, oh, was this in Japanese as well? And then I remembered, right? I think most people watching are probably familiar with, even if they haven't seen it, that there is a very long, like, Dark Souls 2 defense video that's made by H. Bomber Guy, right? And in that, he draws a connection between the old lady that we meet in the CG intro and the film Throne of Blood. Because Throne of Blood has a scene at the beginning where the main character encounters, it's this essentially the same scene. It's this old lady and she's like in a hut and she's spinning thread on a wheel and there's a spider going past, and he makes that connection based on that imagery. He also makes it based on the presence of the spider. Because the castle in Throne of Blood is called Spiderweb Castle. Now, I was thinking initially, okay, the woman spinning the thread on the wheel, that is just like a stock piece of, like, Japanese folklore imagery. It's like the web of fate is being spun. You see that character, the idea of, like, spinning the web being like someone who can predict the future because they're seeing the web spinning. Not necessarily Throne of Blood. Sin, are you familiar with Throne of Blood?
I've been smiling and nodding, but I have no idea what it is.
Throne of Blood is based on a play called Macbeth.
Whoa!
Yeah, Throne of Blood is Samurai Macbeth. And in that one, the old lady spinning the thread is like the stand-in for the 3 sisters.
Oh my god!
And now I'm like, yeah, actually. Yeah, and it's like, if you think about Macbeth, like, it's sort of about, like, ambition and lordship and, like, what makes a lord? Do you seize it or do you grant it?
Oh.
And what, is it your fate to become a lord? And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe this is intentional and I was just being unfair on the English translator thinking they shoved all that stuff with Aldia because they're a frustrated lit major or something. But yeah, there we go. I think the three Firekeepers might actually supposed to be kind of analogous to the 3 sisters in Macbeth.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And you wanted to mention one more thing about the Firekeepers.
Yeah, so the Firekeepers don't really do anything after the beginning of the game. They stay in the hut. They will allow you to reallocate points based on you having a soul vessel. There's one, like, thing that happens in the story that they react to. And that is you getting Vendrick's ring. If you come back after you've got Vendrick's ring, which is like the symbol of kingship, Strowen will give you another 6 effigies.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Do you think they were about to expire and she's like, oh, have these effigies, you're the greatest?
Well, it's interesting because, like, she's the one who first explains effigies to you.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who says, like, take this look at it, what do you see? And she's like, yes, it's an effigy of you. And that's what allows you to, like, re-embody yourself.
Yeah, I found her very condescending when she did the whole effigy thing. When you tell her your name, she's like, oh, at least you know your name.
At least you know your own name.
Here's your reward for sharing.
Here's your reward. It's a human effigy.
She probably has to do this a lot. No, but I like her. I like them because they sass you in the same way the one in Dark Souls 3 sasses you.
Is it not our sorry fate to sup on death?
Because like a lot of them are just like the Emrald Herald's like, oh, the next monarch. And the one in 3 is like, you must become a lord, and the Firekeepers like, you're gonna die. Fuck you.
And then you pull off the hood and it's E.T.
And I mean, like, that itself is interesting because it's like, you become re-embodied as a result of the old women, and they specifically mention, like, this is a limbo space, so actually, like, in a sense, like, they're your mother. They're allowing you to be reborn into the world again.
Did you just say reborn? Did you just say
yes,
reborn?
I did. I
you
said that very
reborn?
deliberately.
You know there's going to be a note.
Yeah.
Hello! From Software President Hidetaka Miyazaki here to explain my favorite anime, Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Katekyo Hitman Reborn is the story of... Sorry, I'll just let that go to voicemail.
Hello, Mr. Miyazaki? I heard you were working on a new robot game.
Oh my god, it's that fucking tree
if you
again.
wanted some inspiration, there's a Super Nintendo one called Zardion, where at the end of it the robot turns into a tree. Could you let me know if you're interested? Thank you.
So Katekyo Hitman Reborn is the story of... Oh, for fuck's sake!
Hello? It's me again. I know you said to call you only during office hours, but I've been very busy and I'm currently recovering from a hand injury.
You don't have
so
hands.
I did remember. Goodbye.
Yeah. I have also been asked to explain the 3 old broads that live in the tree. They are former Firekeepers, for all I know, and their names are Strowen, Morrel and Griant. Yui is terrible with names. Like when I come up with a sun guy, his name is Solaire. When I come up with a revolutionary leader, his name is Maximilian Thermidor. Yui's like, ooh, I'll call them fucking Titchy Gren. Thankfully we have George now, and he helped us come up with Marika, Melania, Michaela, Melina, the other ones. I think this episode is about Firekeepers. Let's just go back to that.
So yeah, in a sense, these characters are kind of like, they're a sort of mother for you, in a sense, that like, you're washed ashore, like you have no form, you have no identity, and then they're the ones that sort of embody you and make you like a solid, like, defined person, and then from there, that's when you enter Drangleic. It's like, they're like, I hate Joseph Campbell. I hate him so much. But there's an archetype that gets thrown around a lot called the Threshold Guardian. The idea of, like, when you're crossing, like, a threshold from one world or state to another, there's, like, someone there sort of, like, helping you through or, like, preventing you from going. And they sort of function like that. Like, they're actually... If you just walked directly through things betwixt without encountering them, you would stumble out into Drangleic with no name and no identity. And you would essentially just become one of the roaming hollows. But what they do is they actually let you remember that. Those old ladies are necessary to you crossing over.
Interesting. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you, Sin.
Did you know that I actually know a quote from Macbeth?
Is that, the quote you were looking at then when you were quite obviously, like, typing something looking at a monitor?
No, Sophie,
No.
I was not typing.
Oh.
This is a sound some of us have not heard in a while, but true cultists will instantly recognize it. And the quote is, "Euthrasonical, thrill-tongued rabbit sucker."
That did take me a second, but I know what's happened.
Sophie, do the outro.
That was the Snack Covenant, episode 282, which I didn't know was 282. I thought this was Patreon exclusive. But everyone's gonna hear this, and I'm overjoyed. It was about the Firekeepers from Dark Souls 2, who aren't Firekeepers because they spend all day drinking tea around a little table. It's actually kind of cute when you think about it. Aww.
Do you think they put some alcohol in their tea?
Millibeth's drugging them. It's a little fucking dark.
Oh my god! I was thinking, Sophie, I was thinking they put alcohol in their tea like me, to chill out and relax. But you made it dark.
I can see you becoming one of these people in about 50 years, yeah.
More like 10, with the way things are going.
Early 2070s, it'll just be like the two of us in red robes in a tree.
Well, thank you, Sophie.
Thank you, Sin.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. And see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.